Anyways. Alright, so Epic Boons, guys. Level 20 plus. Good way to reward your characters. And we'll even talk about some other stuff also. Well, Epic Boons is pretty much their special powers. You can see there's quite a bit. There's quite a few of them. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's like 20 of them. 20, 25 of them. And these are special powers that they listed as only available to level 20th level characters. Alright, characters at that level can gain such boons only if you want them to, and only when you feel it's appropriate. So basically how they're stating the Epic Boons is it's up to the Dungeon Master, and the Dungeon Master is the one that takes these and assigns them to the character. It's not like you're going to give them this list and then the players choose. But I mean, if you're if you're a pretty free-thinking DM, then hey, I would possibly think about letting them choose whatever they want to. I mean, because you figure if the characters, took time to level to 20 and invested the time to legitimately get a character up to 20. Why not give them a little bit of freedom as to choosing which Epic Boons that they wanted? So the Epic Boons, they're best rewarded after the characters complete a major quest. Maybe they accomplish something particularly notable, like maybe finishing a high-level adventure. Maybe maybe a paladin getting his Holy Avenger. Maybe you could take one of these Epic Boons and give it to the paladin as another reward after he read a tomb and then he was blessed by his deity permanently. I mean, you could do stuff like that. Now, a character might gain here's a couple examples. So a character might gain an Epic Boon after destroying an evil artifact, defeating an ancient dragon, or halting an incursion from the outer planes. I like those examples. So sure. So Epic Boons can be also used as a form of advancement, a way to provide greater power to the characters who have no more levels to gain. It's already apparent. We've already been talking about that. So with this approach, consider rewarding one boon for every 30,000 XP that he or she gains for his or her character. So, and 355k is level 20. So every 30k, think about maybe rewarding one of your players one of these. Now, the thing is, maybe instead of going 30,000, maybe even give one of these to a character before level 20. Maybe if you finish Horde of the Dragon Queen and the Rise of Tiamat, and just say that you did survive the fight with Tiamat. Maybe you would reward your players with some kind of epic boon for defeating Tiamat. Maybe them giving resistance to fire damage, or maybe letting them roll on a 1d10, 5 heads for Tiamat. Let them roll a 1d10, assign the different colors of the heads to the die roll, and give them a resistance for whatever they rolled for a reward for beating Tiamat. There's all kinds of things that you can do with these boons. There's nothing saying that you have to give these boons out every 30,000. That's just the base. I mean, you can let the players buy these as feats if you wanted to. There's nothing saying that you can't do that. I mean, why not? So you can do, and here's where it goes back to where you determine which epic boon a character gains. Ideally, the boon you pick is something the character would put into use for future adventures. You can allow a player to select a boon for his or her character, and you can approve it. So you can either, like I said, let the players choose, or you give it to them. Or assign one to whatever, and then roll especially on a virtual tabletop, one to whatever, and do it. Go to a random number generator. Boom, you got this. So, whatever boon a character ends up with, consider it placed in the story and the world where the character gets it from. Many of the boons are extraordinary and represent the gradual transformation of a character into something resembling of a demigod. The acquisition of a boon might visibly transform a character. Here's a good example, and this is what I really liked about the epic boons. And this kind of reminds me of Path of the Totem Warrior for the Barbarian. Now, for example, the eyes of a character with the Boon of True Sight which the Boon of True Sight means that you have True Sight out to a range of 60 feet. Who does not want True Sight? True Sight, you can see everything. Anything that's magically invisible by a magic item, anything. You can just go right up to him and say, "Ha, I see you." Doink. So, you could, for example, you get the Boon of True Sight. Maybe the he or she character's eyes will glow. That would be really great. Lot's Child 346, thanks for the follow. Maybe somebody that gets the Boon of High Magic might have faint motes or light glimmering around his or her head. Maybe stars rotating around it. Do whatever. RP it out. Roleplay it out, man. I mean, that's great. Dungeon Masters love that shit. They eat it up. So, also you need to put it in your story. How does the boon first appear? Does the boon just magically appear? Or does a god actually visit you in a dream or in a physical form and give you this power? That's great. That's great content for a game. I mean, that's an adventure itself. And in fact, maybe you have to do something like to kill Tiamat to get one of these boons. Maybe you have to go to the outer plane. Maybe you got to go to the astral sea and kill Githyanki and Giths. Maybe you got to do something like that. And here's all these boons, and we're going to go over each one. And some of these boons, guys, are so crazy. I mean, there are some serious crazy boons in here. Alright, so that's some things to think about. Do you want to do it the standard way as how they approach Epic Boons? A level 20 character, max at 355k XP, giving them one of these boons, maybe the Dungeon Master's choice, maybe the player's choice, every 30,000, or would you give one of these boons to a character as a reward for going through the Horde of the Dragon Queen and Rise of Tiamat and defeating Tiamat, and maybe pushing her back down to the elemental chaos? The character won't be level 20, be level 15, 16. Why not give a reward? You just defeated a god. Why would you not get a reward like this? So let's go over these boons. The Boon of Combat Prowess. When you miss with a melee attack weapon, you can choose to hit it instead. Nothing really too powerful about that. When you miss with a melee weapon attack, and it's melee weapon attack, so it wouldn't work for ranged, you can choose to hit the target instead. And once you use this boon, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. The great thing is you can use this after a short rest. That's definitely the good thing. But Boon of Combat Prowess, pretty nice. Not too powerful. The Boon of Dimensional Travel. As an action, you can cast the Misty Step spell without using a spell slot or any components. Once you cast Misty Step, you can't use this boon again until you finish a short rest. Wow. Boon of Dimensional Travel is super sweet. Misty Step is probably one of my favorite spells in 5e. And Misty Step, you can use a Boon of Dimensional Travel as an action. So if you are doing, if you got, say you're a fighter or a ranger, something with extra attack, you get your first attack, then go for it. And then port. Maybe your Dungeon Master will let you, maybe they won't. It just depends what your Dungeon Master will let you do. So the Boon of Fate. When another creature that you can see within 60 feet of you makes an ability check, an attack roll, or a saving throw, you can roll a d10 and apply the result as a bonus or penalty to the roll. That's really nice. Keywords there. Creature. Creature meaning you, meaning your ally, meaning the enemy. So if you, the ally or enemy, within 60 feet of you, and you can see it, if they make an ability, attack, roll, saving throw, you roll the d10, you can add it or you can subtract it from that roll. That's pretty sweet. I like the Boon of Fate. So once you use the Boon of Fate roll, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. I like it. You can kind of see the trend here.
Okay.
Everything is kind of going to short rest. So next is the Boon of Fortitude. This is really super sweet. This is really powerful. Your hit point maximum will increase by 40. What's not to like about that? 40 hit points is a lot of hit points in D&D 5e. The Boon of High Magic. You gain 1 9th level spell slot, provided that you already have one. So, if you are a caster, that gets a 9th level spell slot. We all know that you can only cast 1 9th level spell a day, even by using the optional spell point system. So what this does, the Boon of High Magic, it increases your 1 to a 2. So you can cast 2 Meteor Swarms a day instead of just 1. Maybe you can blow up Phandalin twice. So the next boon is the Boon of Immortality. This is where you stop aging. It also means that you're immune to any effect that would age you, and you cannot die from old age. I like that. But it would get boring. You'd probably get bored after a couple thousand years. So I would probably stay away from the Boon of Immortality. But if you really, really, really loved your character and you didn't want your character to die, then it would be an option for you. The Boon of Invincibility. When you take damage from any source, spell, range attack, melee attack, you can reduce that damage to 0. And, this doesn't tell you, I guess this would be a free action. So it doesn't say reaction. It doesn't say anything else. So you can just use this, I would say, as a free action. And once you use the Boon of Invincibility, you reduce that damage to 0. And then once you use the Boon of Invincibility, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. So you can see the trend is continuing with all of these boons reset with a short rest. But I know that there are several that do require you to have a long rest. Not very many, though. So the Boon of Irresistible Offense. You can bypass the damage resistance of any creature. Now that's really nice. The Boon of Irresistible Offense. Meaning, if, we'll say Tiamat has resistance to bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing. If you had the Boon of Irresistible Offense, you could bypass that damage reduction and do full damage. Not only to Tiamat, but to any creature that would have, whatever your Boon of Irresistible Offense would be. So, and, even, this is really strong. So, what the Dungeon Master can do is even set this up to where instead of being all damage, it can be maybe the Boon of Irresistible Fiery Offense or Lightning or Thunder Offense or, Force Offense. Maybe it will, bypass the damage resistance of force damage on a creature or slashing or piercing or whatever. So, you can kind of make it a little less powerful, but then again, you're level 20, you should be pretty badass. So that would just be up to the Dungeon Master. So the Boon of Luck. This is where you can add a D10 to any ability check, attack roll, or saving throw that you make. And then once you use the boon, you can't use it again until you finish a short rest. So this is sort of like the Boon of Fate, but the Boon of Luck specifically says that it's for you. So the Boon of Luck is for you. The Boon of Fate is for you or anybody else, because it considers creatures you or anybody else. So there you go. The Boon of Luck. That's actually a pretty nice boon also. The Boon of Magic Resistance. You have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. I think that's a really, really strong one. I think that's good. Boon of Peerless Aim. Wow, look at this. You can give yourself a plus 20 bonus to a ranged attack roll you make. Once you use this boon, you can't use it again until you finish short rest. You could even change this from, plus 20. You could even make it like the Boon of Combat Prowess, where it would be just an automatic hit if you miss. So that's something that you can talk with about your DM. You can either give yourself the plus 20 or just have your Dungeon Master change it to an automatic hit. And then use it after a short rest. So you could kind of change that one around. The Boon of Perfect Health. You are immune to all diseases and poisons, and you have advantage on Constitution saving throws. I like the Boon of Perfect Health. That's actually really strong. So here's the Boon of Planar Travel. When you gain this boon, choose a plane of existence other than the immaterial plane. So if you want to go to the four inner planes, like the fire, the earth, or the water, or the air, you could do that. Or you could go to the other planes, like the Shadowfell, or any of the outer planes. So it's pretty nice. You can choose any plane except for the material plane. The material plane is the setting that you're in. That's how they explain the material plane. So you can use an action to cast a plane shift spell. Doesn't take a spell slot. Doesn't take any components at all. It's just hocus pocus, plane shift, where you target yourself only and travel to that chosen plane, or from that chosen plane back to the material plane. And then once you use the boon, you can't use it again until a short rest. So that's actually really nice. I like the boon of planar travel. That would probably be, I don't know if that would be in the very first boon that I would get, but that would be, if I was able to choose my own boons, that would probably be top 3. I think that would definitely be top 3. Because when you choose something like that, it kind of forces the dungeon master to broaden his horizons and do some other planes instead of the material plane. So here's the Boon of Quick Casting. This is really nice too. This is where you can choose one of your spells through a 1st to 3rd level that has a casting time of 1 action, and you will convert that 1 action cast time permanently to a bonus action. So if you love, 3rd level spell, Fireball, like Misty Moonlight, she could use the Boon of Quick Casting. She could literally permanently get rid of the action time for Fireball, and she could do a bonus action with Fireball and then attack with her staff if she wanted to do something like that. Or you could do it with any 1st to 3rd level spell that has an action. You could do it with anything. Magic Missile, Lightning, anything. Alright, Boon of Recovery. You can use a bonus action to regain a number of hit points equal to half your hit point maximum. This is nice. Once you use the boon, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. So this is anything that has to do with life, you're going to see has a long rest. So the Boon of Recovery, say if you have 250 hit points at level 20, then if you use the Boon of Recovery, it'll be 125 hit points. And then you get that back, and then you can't use it again until you have a long rest. So I like the Boon of Recovery. That's a great one to have, especially for like the fighter, barbarian. The Boon of Resilience. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. I like that. That's definitely that's a good one to have. Boon of Skill Proficiency. So basically how the Boon of Resilience works, I'll just go back and now any creature that attacks you must have a magical weapon to damage you, or something labeled as a magical weapon, like the monks would be able to attack you with their fists because they become magical weapons at X amount of level and stuff like that. So you have to actually have the creature fighting you would actually have to have a magical weapon to do any kind of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage to you. So now check this out. Holy shit. Boon of Skill Proficiency. This is sweet. This is where you gain proficiency in all skills. You're not going to, if you're already proficient in it, you're not going to get double the skill, because it doesn't work like that. But yeah, that's really nice. Boon of Skill Proficiency. Proficiency in all skills. Boon of Speed. Your walking speed increases by 30 feet. Not to 30 feet, but it increases by 30 feet. In addition, you can use a bonus action to take the dash or disengage action, much like cunning action for the road. Once you do so, you can't use the dash or disengage action again until you finish a short rest. So, say you're that wood elf monk that has a 65 feet around movement already. You can get the Boon of Speed and go to 95 feet around movement. Jesus criminally. That is crazy. And then you get the bonus action to take dash or disengage. Unbelievable. Boon of Speed, that is probably going to be my number one. For a melee fighter, that would be probably my number one. Especially if you're like a great weapon or 2-weapon fighter or a sword and board. Oh my goodness, that is just so powerful. Or any rogue, they don't really need that, but the 30 feet is still awesome to have. That's 30 feet on top of your, on top of it. Jesus, man, unbelievable. Whew. So yeah, you would be able to use this, the Boon of Speed, or Cunning Action. You wouldn't be able to use both in one round because you only get one bonus action anyway. So don't think you're gonna, squeak one out and then bonus action again, because it just doesn't work that way. So the Boon of Spell Mastery. Choose one first level sorcerer, warlock, or wizard spell that you can cast. Then you can now cast that spell at its lowest level form without expending a spell slot or spell points. I like that. The Boon of Spell Mastery. So if you're a wizard and you're always casting shield on yourself, that's perfect for Boon of Spell Mastery. Boon of Spell Recall. You can cast any spell you know or have prepared without expending a spell slot. Once you do so, you can't use this boon again until you finish a long rest. I like that. And it's attached to a long rest instead of a short rest. So, if you have, we'll say that you have a 9th level magic missile, expend it. Doesn't cost you anything. It says any spell you know or have prepared without expending a spell slot. Pretty straightforward. Boon of the Fire Soul. You have immunity to fire damage, and you also can cast Burning Hands at will without using the spell slot or any components, with a saving throw DC of a 15. So you don't get the best saving throw DC. I think that DC is a little low for level 20, but regardless, it's still pretty nice. I mean, you figure with an ability modifier at level 20, which is +5, ability modifier at 20 with a +5 modifier, and the base 8 DC, and also a proficiency bonus, that would be a minimum of a DC of 19. So I think the Boon of the Fire Soul is nice, but I think they sold the save DC a little short, especially for a boon, because this is supposed to be for a level 20 character. So if I was dungeon mastering, I would probably change that DC 15 to probably a DC 19, just to make it on par with a level 20 caster. Because, I mean, Christ, you're level 20. It's the Boon of the Fire Soul. So I would do that, though. Boon of the Night Spirit. While completely in an area of dim light or darkness, you can become invisible as an action. You remain invisible until you take an action or reaction. Pretty straightforward. No need to go over that. I do like that. Boon of the Night Spirit. Pretty good. Boon of the Stormborn. This is where you have immunity to lightning and thunder damage. Immunity. Not resistance, but immunity to lightning and thunder damage. And you can also cast Thunder Wave with a DC of 15 at will without using the spell slots or any components. Now I would leave that DC at 15 because you get immunity to lightning and thunder damage. But then again, I mean, Boon of the Fire Soul, you get immunity to fire damage there too. So in fact I would probably change this probably up to a DC 19 to bring it in par with but that's probably why they didn't take it up to a level 20 DC, is because of you get the immunity. But in my opinion, you're a level 20 character. You should be godlike. So I would raise that DC up. What do you guys think about that in the chat? Would you guys also raise the DC up for that? So let's go with the Boon of the Unfettered. The Unfettered. So this is where you're going to have advantage on ability checks made to resist being grappled. In addition, you can use an action to automatically escape a grapple or free yourself of restraints of any kind. I like that. The Boon of the Unfettered. I like that. I don't know how often you're going to use it, but that would be sort of like a jack-in-the-box type of skill that you want to, an ace in the hole, I guess you call it, kind of keeping it on the back burner. Boon of the Unfettered. Advantage on all strength or dex ability checks for being grappled. And then in addition, you can automatically escape a grapple or free yourself. So, but then, it doesn't even say short or long rest. So Boon of the Unfettered, this is unlimited uses without a rest. So that's really something to consider also. Especially if you're going to be like a monk or something that's going to be in there pretty close, or a fighter or a rogue. But I don't know, rogues usually they usually use cunning action to get out of the dodge anyway, so I probably wouldn't recommend that for a rogue. But I mean, you could. Then there's the Boon of True Sight that we've already talked about, where you have the True Sight out to a range of 60 feet, meaning you can see anything that's magically hidden by magic items, by spell, whatever. You can see them. And then there's the Boon of Undetectability. This is where you gain a +10 bonus to dexterity stealth checks, and you cannot be detected or targeted by divination magic, including scrying sensors. Pretty straightforward. But the Boon of True Sight would see right through the Boon of Undetectability. So Boon of True Sight, that is like the king. And a lot of things at higher level, they do have a lot of True Sight going on at the higher levels. So the Boon of Undetectability, really nice. So what do you guys think about raising those DCs? What do you guys think about giving these out as rewards to non-level 20 characters? I think a lot of them would be good to give out to a non-level 20 character, like the Boon of Combat Prowess, or maybe the Boon of Luck, or maybe the Boon of Peerless Aim. I don't think some of them I don't think I would probably give out to a pre-level 20 character. Something like Boon of the Skill Proficiency, or maybe Boon of Resilience. I don't think I would give something like that out pre-level 20. But I think that I would give some of these out possibly as rewards. So what do you guys think? Please feel free to let me know in chat. Also put a comment down below. And thank you guys for checking out this Dungeon Master Workshop for Epic Boons. See you next time!